Welcome, everyone. This is The Line Sunday show after dark. My name is Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels, and my dancing partner right next to me is Forrest Valkai. Forrest, how are you doing today?
Amazing. It's been an amazing day. We are risen, and that's why you can't see the camera below here. But yeah, it's been a great day. I would love to start our show, if that's okay with everybody, with a message from the President of the United States, a man whose office holds great meaning and great power and commands great respect and should be taken very seriously. He posted today, first thing in the morning, this, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. So he's threatening to bomb civilian infrastructure and destroy civilian infrastructure in Iran, which is a war crime. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. And of course, because it's on True Social, we get the Boner Aid ad right below the words of the leader of the free world.
Was that a legitimate ad?
That is an actual, this is an actual screenshot that you got there. Super cool stuff. So, just a wild way to start this day. And, I know we love to play the whole what if Obama did it game. Imagine Obama saying praise to Allah in any context, especially on Easter, in any context. So,
that is the first thing.
Tweeting out war plans, continuing to threaten war crimes, and just being a general bag of shit. GBA, y'all. God bless America.
That is absolutely the first thing that comes to my mind when I see stuff like that. But it's like it's happened. Like that has come to my mind so many times, and I've seen it said so many times that it's like, what's the point of even saying this anymore? Like, he's going to do unhinged things, and it's as you say, it's like it's super scary because this is the guy who's at the top of the food chain or the ladder of one of the most powerful countries on the earth economically, the most powerful country on the earth, military speaking, and he's just spitting murder and vitriol on Truth Social and on Tinder, Twitter, and it's like
basically
at what point does his supporters see this and go, wow, this is like unhinged, like this is absolutely irresponsible. It's just, it's really sad, especially like today, evangelical Christians, they are really big on things like Easter and Jesus. And today is Easter, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Like threatening to bomb another country and the kingdom come, praising Allah on Easter. Exactly. What if Obama did that? It would be a meltdown.
It'd be pandemonium.
It would be an absolute meltdown. Fox News would be talking about this for a month. But no, this is just another Sunday.
People were calling it talking about a massive scandal that threatens the integrity of the American fucking whole thing. When he wore a tan suit, when he ordered Dijon mustard, when he rode a bike with a helmet, it's not lost on me that this isn't just it's not just the shifting of the Overton window. It's not just the gradual decay of politics. It's not the old trend of, when you're my age, you'll remember that you thought politics were reasonable and it's really all just crazy. No, his base, his supporters are a lot of fucking white supremacists, a lot of racists, a lot of fucking Nazis who love his rhetoric for being hateful and cruel. And most of them have no concept of the double standards that they throw around, have no concept of the underlying hate speech and hateful messages that they live in and ingratiate themselves with every single day. There's absolutely no self-awareness because MAGA doesn't have any values. They don't have any standards. They don't have any morals. They don't have any goals. What they have is undying loyalty for their God King Donald Trump and hate for everybody else. That's what drives them. They have hate, and all they want is hate. They don't get anything out of this. They didn't get the no new wars. They didn't get the wall. They didn't get lower prices on anything. They didn't get lower prices on gas, on groceries, on anything like that. They didn't get the wars ended in the first week. They didn't get the super strong America that the whole world looks up to. They didn't get Obama has deported more people than Trump did, and he did it without the Nazis marching through the streets. Like, not a single bit of this has been a win for absolutely anybody, least of all MAGA. But you know what? The people they hate are being hurt, and that's what matters. And that's why we see the biggest amount of people coming out of MAGA now. The biggest a group of people coming out now saying, "Oh, this Trump thing really isn't working for me," and I'm starting to see the cracks in it. Why? Because gas prices are up to $4 because they can't afford to drive down the road, and now it's an issue. When ICE was raiding apartment complexes, not a problem. When ICE zip-tied children together and dragged them out in the cold, not a problem. When ICE arrested U.S. citizens, including veterans, not a problem. Didn't give a damn about any of that. When we bombed other countries, not a problem. When we killed a school full of little girls, not a problem. When Trump bragged about sexual assault, not a problem. When he was convicted on 34 felonies for financial fraud because he tried to pay off a porn star that he was cheating on his wife with, not a problem. When he was convicted of rape, not a problem. When he said that, when the interview came out of him on Howard Stern saying that it's great that he gets to run these beauty pageants because he gets to walk backstage and see all these beautiful women naked, including teenagers, not a problem. None of it. There is no line. There is no bar. There is no bottom. There is no anything. All they get out of it is trans people are scared and hurt. Immigrants are scared and hurt. Brown people are scared and hurt in general. Non-white and non-straight and non-cis people are very, very affected and very, very hurt. And that is what they vote for. That is what they support. That is all they have. And now that they are starting to feel not even a crazy amount of stress, the tiniest amount of stress from paying a little bit more at the pump. Now we see a lot of, ex-MAGA people. A lot of people go, "Oh, this Trump guy, really? Oh, this isn't what I voted for." Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn sitting up there. "Oh, what's going on? This is crazy, isn't it?" It's what you fucking assholes have always wanted. It's what you've always supported. You didn't give a damn about the Nazi rhetoric. You didn't give a damn when he said that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. You didn't give a damn when he said that people come to this country and commit crimes because they have bad genes. Didn't care about any of that. What you care about is a couple more pennies out of your wallet. Eat my entire ass.
Amen. Yeah, like I think I said it before the election, that when you vote with the goal of harming others, and I don't think a lot of people explicitly say that, but I think a lot of them internally think that they're voting because they want to see groups of people that are being treated equally as them that shouldn't, according to their point of view. They think that, oh, these people should not be deserving of this equal treatment, the equal opportunities that I have, or they might be here illegally because they're desperate for a better life, or they might be here for whatever reason. Because that they are not in my group, they're not part of my skin color or religion or clique or whatever, however they internally like sort out people and group people in their brains. They go out and they vote to harm others. And now that's come back and those chickens have come home to roost. Now, like you said, $4 a gallon for gasoline. Whoever's paying $4 for gasoline, I want to move to where you are right now. Because up here in Washington, probably a lot of taxes, $7.40 for a gallon of diesel. Like it is quite bad up here. And these are all the consequences when voting occurs, when people vote to harm others rather than voting to benefit themselves. Harming others doesn't benefit you. Like seeing folks in Minnesota be violently deported and in some cases violently murdered does not help you at home. It doesn't matter who you are. Nobody was helped by that. People who want to see other people get harmed, they liked it. They got their jollies out of it, but it didn't help them. Like, how does that help you day by day? Like, how does that help you with paying for the groceries or the infrastructure in your neighborhood that might be crumbling or the gas prices that you're paying? Like, voting to harm others does not help you. So anybody in the audience who voted Trump or who voted with that in mind, whether you did it conscientiously or not, maybe, just maybe, try this. Next election, vote for your benefit. Listen to what the politicians are saying. Listen to what they're promising and go, hey, you know what? I think what this person is saying will benefit me. Who cares what it does to others? It'll benefit me. Like, you need to, this is a heartfelt appeal to these people in the audience who might be listening. Vote for the benefit of yourself and the community. Voting for the harm of others does not do that. Period. Full stop. Does not do that. Get away from that mentality and get towards, okay, listening to what they actually have to say and voting according to your benefit. And then we might all do a little bit better than what we've been doing for the past 4 years and then the 4 years before Biden. But yeah, it's like, you got me talking about politics and that almost never happens. So yeah, no, dude, it's infuriating.
It's so hard not to pop off and go onto a whole rant about it whenever it comes up because it is so just unbelievably despicable. And like, I guarantee there's a lot of MAGA folks out there listening right now who would hear what you said and say, oh, no, you don't understand. Getting all the illegals out does benefit me because they've got this fucking magical fantasy world in their head where illegal immigrants are taking all their jobs and taking all the government benefits that they are not allowed to get, and they don't pay any taxes even though they pay over $100 billion in income tax, and they're just, they're out here hurting all of our communities and all this stuff. And that's why we need a masked fucking secret police force that doesn't wear badges, doesn't wear consistent uniforms, and gets to demand anybody's ID and anybody's proof of citizenship and has been given license by the Supreme Court to arrest people based on their skin color alone. And that's just okay. And that's why we've had, plenty of fucking cases of people being arrested and detained even though they're American citizens. They just happen to be brown and nearby. And they don't fucking believe in what's going on. It is, to continue drawing the comparison, I know there's the old adage, whoever calls the other side Nazis first is the asshole. But like, we literally have fucking concentration camps in this country now where people are we have from the ACLU and from Amnesty International and from insider whistleblowers, we have reports of rape, including from of children. We have reports of people being starved and being given not enough food. If the food they are given is moldy and rotten and worm infested, we have reports of facilities flooded with urine and feces and foul water. We have reports of people crammed into kennels where it's just not enough space. There's too many people in there, not enough space, not enough blankets, nothing. We have reports of people being denied medication, including life-saving medication, including prescription medication, that have died because of it. And even if they get out of this fucking place, we have the cases like the fucking poor blind man that was dumped out in the snow and died because ICE didn't tell his family that they had released. They just dumped him in the snow somewhere and he fucking froze to death. And even the people who don't get released, we have over 3,000 cases of immigrants that have just gone missing. Just poof, vanish. Nobody knows where they are anymore. So they were grabbed up off the street. They got sent to the concentration camp, and now nobody knows where they are. And we're just supposed to be cool with that? We're just supposed to pretend that that's normal? And MAGA, you guys still don't fucking get why we call you assholes Nazis? For real? You still don't understand it, huh? Still doesn't click with you that the armed fascist thugs raiding people's homes, zip-tying their children, dragging people into concentration camps based on their skin color or their accent, and then people just vanish, disappear, die, are tortured, are beaten, are raped. None of that registers because God King Trump didn't say that's so that's how it has to be. I'm so fucking bored of it and so fucking sick of it, and would love to take a MAGA call today to defend that tweet that we started out with. Tell us why that's an appropriate thing for a president to say.
That would be interesting.
But more importantly than all that, it is still the Sunday show after dark, and it is still Easter Sunday, which means
it is the most holy of days. It is the most holy of days where the tooth bunny, the tooth bunny ascends out of his hole to collect the teeth that are due to him, and
Yes.
he will get those teeth, folks. There's no stopping it. I just think everyone needs to come to terms with that. Tooth Bunny will get those teeth, and we'll see. Hopefully, maybe like today, yeah, I would love to see a MAGA come in here and like defend that tweet. I would love to see, maybe perhaps a theist or two come in here and say, I have evidence that a God exists. Preferably something we haven't heard 100 times before and like, knocked down several times, but we're always interested in like new ideas and new stories and like that. Like, yeah, folks in the audience, the phone number is just right below us. The number is 720-619-2288, or you can call in on the web link. We'll get you through the call screener. You can give a quick little like summary of what you're calling in for, and we'll put you in the queue and hopefully get you up here.
Most definitely, especially you, Donald Douglas Jr. in the chat, who said they're not arresting people based on skin color, they're arresting people that are illegal immigrants. Call in, 720-619-2288. We'll go through several examples of them arresting U.S. citizens because they looked Mexican, including veterans. And we'll just see how that plays in your MAGA mind. It'll be great.
There we go.
But more importantly, if you think that you know Jesus, and if you think we need Jesus, this is the show for you, 720-619-2288. I'm going to grab my Tooth Bunny mask because that's a good call.
Oh, yeah, go grab that. Yeah. So, yeah, folks calling in, it is a holy day. The Tooth Bunny will hopefully will be here in a moment, and we can get his toothy blessing. But I don't know. I'm not going to take a call until Forrest gets back, and I have nothing to say just about. So, there we go. Oh, my God. I was starting to sweat there, Forrest.
Pray every day that he doesn't come for you. It's the Tooth Bunny. Let's all hide. Yay! That was my song. That was a Tooth Bunny song.
Hey, if that was impromptu, I'm impressed. Unless you, that is a freaky mask.
This was sent to me, I believe, by Kalasia, one of our mods in chat. Sent this to me. It's horrific, and this is coming for you if you don't fucking floss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think that the dental care on that mask is a little lacking. You would think the Tooth Bunny. Well, actually, maybe that's why the Tooth Bunny needs so many teeth. It's because it just doesn't need to take care of his own teeth. It just gets new ones. Like
it replaces them. Like why?
I don't know. Like, what's disposable? I'm going to date myself. Disposable cameras. Why take care of your disposable camera? We can just go buy another one and just exactly. It's like it's irreplaceable. Oh. God, disposable cameras. It's like 20 years ago now.
Right. Wash your teeth. And call the show if you believe in Jesus and want to tell us why. 720-619-2288. New sleep paralysis demon just dropped. Oof. I'm gonna put this over here. Get back to that. We already got some calls lined up, and we'll have more coming in eventually. So
let's bring somebody in. We have two callers in the queue. Folks, calling in. You see the number below. We have lots of room in the queue. We have two people in line. One is Portia, and the other one's John. Portia, I'm sorry. You are an atheist, and you're a second-class citizen on the show because John's a theist, and we're going to bring John in first. But Portia, we will get to you here pretty soon, I promise. But, let's go ahead and bring in John, and hopefully my camera will focus. There we go. John from Canada, welcome. John's pronouns are he, him. John here says he's a theist, and he has the ultimate proof for God. And then in parentheses, it says, it's himself, so he says. So I'm sorry, John, if I gave away the punchline, but welcome. How are you doing?
Happy Holy Sunday to both of you, gentlemen. And it's my fault that I gave away the punchline.
You see, that was because if you wanna not have that happen, feel free to put it in there, but then say, don't mention this part. Here's where I'm going. Right. I want to keep it a surprise. And we would probably honor that. But anyway, to kind of sort out the joke from the serious stuff, go ahead and re-summarize why you're calling in. And are you seriously saying that you have the ultimate proof for God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And when you say ultimate, what do you mean? It'll be undeniable. We can test it. It's falsifiable. There's evidence for it. Can you describe to us what you mean by ultimate proof?
When I tell you this, you will know what I'm talking about. It'll be undeniable. Are you ready?
Okay.
I feel I just want to say before you start, I just want to say the way you're building it up, I feel like it's going to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and it's going to be the most obviously not proof of anything.
It might be.
That's where I'm at with it. Let's see.
But John, I mentioned falsification, John, so I'm going to be a stickler on that one. I want to know whatever your proof is or whatever your claim will be. I want to know how, if you were wrong about it, how you would know. But keep that in mind as you go forward. But please, lay it on us.
Can I say it now, or are we going to continue describing it?
I'm sorry. Okay. John. Patience is a virtue, John. Have a little patience. We're having a good time here. Feel free, please continue. What is your ultimate proof for God?
It's me, gentlemen. You're talking to it. You see,
okay. And
let me tell you my story.
I don't want to hear your story, John. No, I'm going to stop you right there, John. I don't want to hear a story. I want to hear a proof.
I am the ultimate proof that there is no God.
Oh my God!
So now we have both, huh?
All right, John. You have 30 seconds. John, you have 30 seconds for this story. Go ahead.
I was an atheist. I was depressed. I was living a bad life. I found God, and now I'm feeling so much better. And I promise you, if you accepted God too, you'll feel so much better, gentlemen. I'm saying that right now.
Can I, John, I have a real actual question for you. And this, it may sound like I'm being shitty, and I am a little bit, but real genuine question. Do you actually seriously think that we, as atheists and as content creators and online debaters and blah, 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 have never had anyone say something like that to us?
Oh, I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times, and I know many of you people were Christians, but something happened to you that made you lose your faith. I just
usually thinking happened.
Thinking, realizing I didn't believe for good reasons, that made me stop believing.
So, there are a million people who believe in faiths that you don't believe in that have the exact same story. There are plenty of people who became atheists and their life became so much better. So all you're telling me here is you found religion, it changed your life, and that was meaningful to you. That does not mean that your religion is true, nor does it mean that you believe for good reasons, because I don't think that you do.
Yeah.
Also, more importantly, your God, if it is real, isn't worth worshiping. So you haven't solved any of the problems. You just told us your personal faith.
Why do you say that, Forrest? Why do you say that?
Because I have moral consistency.
Moral consistency. What does that mean, Mr. Valkai?
John, perhaps think of it this way. Imagine how you tackle any other claims in life outside of religion. Like if somebody comes and says, "Hey, I have $1 million for you. I just need to have your social security number," or somebody calls you on the phone and tells you, "Hey, I'm a prince in Nigeria, and in order for me to give you part of my inheritance, you need to forward me $10,000." Like imagine situations like that, and imagine your thought process and how you would deal with those things. We do that with religion. We do that with all claims.
And your point?
Our point being is that
you should too.
Yeah. We detect a double standard in you, John, and we're simply saying you should not have a double standard in how you handle these things. You should have the same process for all claims.
There's one big difference. Christianity is the only religion that has changed the world for the better. You can't deny that.
That's not true.
Yeah,
I can't deny that because it has not changed the world for the better, John.
Yes, it has.
So do you think that, just out of curiosity, do you think that all the Native Americans who were slaughtered in genocide by Christians who forced to convert them and killed them if they wouldn't convert and then forced them into boarding schools to train their culture out of them and all that, do you think that they would say that Christianity was a net positive for them and their communities?
I would say that they volunteered to join Christianity.
No, so just to be clear, they volunteered to join Christianity after their parents and community members were slaughtered by Christians, and they were forced into boarding schools against their will, trained that their skin color and language were ugly, and told that the only way to be a human was to be Christian. And then generations down the line, after a lot of that, some of them became Christians. I'm asking again, do you think that that's a net positive for those people?
That never happened, gentlemen. That's what you're saying is completely false.
You don't think that boarding schools happened?
Denying the facts. John, are you familiar with the indigenous children in Canada that were subjected to Catholic institutions up there and the mass graves they found because so many of them died under that institution? Are you familiar with that at all?
Yes, I am familiar.
Okay. Do you think Christianity, do you think they would say, oh, Christianity brought a lot of good into the world?
Gentlemen, whenever two cultures get...
I'm sorry. That was a yes or no question, John. That was a yes or no question. Do you think those dead kids would say that Christianity has brought a lot of good in the world? Yes or no?
And what would you say about the white children who were captured by...
John, I'm going to jingle some keys so I can keep your attention. It was a yes or no question. Do you think those dead kids would think that?
Those dead kids are now in a better place, John.
What? Say that
Fuck
again?
you, John. You said those kids are in a better place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yourself,
That's icky.
John.
That's icky, John.
Gross. And
So,
let me
John-
tell you, if this is the God you believe in, you can now see why I would say that it isn't worth worshiping, because this is how your religion spreads. And by the way, fits right in with the Bible, where God commands the genocide of other people who don't believe in him quite a bit, including babies. So, sorry, man, God's an evil asshole, and it sounds like you might be too. No, you can't, because that's not how moral responsibility works, John. That's called Mike Makes Right. That's what's called make...
Don't pivot, John.
That's called Mike's Makes Right. Mike makes right. I'm big and strong. I can do whatever I want because I'm big and strong. And that is how you get fascist fucking dictators and shit. So you're just you're into evil bullshit.
Fascists that you support.
Which fascist do I support, John?
Yeah, name one.
The Democrats and Kamala Harris.
I'm not a Democrat. And also, I don't think you know what fascism means.
I know exactly what fascism means, gentlemen.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
You do? It means a systematic, oppressive government. That's what it means. It means no freedom.
It doesn't.
People. I just told you what it is, and you're telling me I'm wrong. I just told you what it is.
Yeah, look up the fucking definition, John.
People are oppressed. I am telling you the definition right now.
Let me just pull up just a quick fucking Google search for you. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology. That's the basic definition. So, which Democrats are far-right, ultra-nationalists, John?
Your candidate, Kamala Harris. If she had one,
Kamala Harris is a far-right, ultra-nationalist, you think?
Yeah.
You're dumb as all fuck, John.
You can insult me all you want to, but I know the truth.
Kamala Harris.
Forrest there.
Kamala Harris, the front runner of the Democratic Party, is right wing, in your opinion.
Yeah, she is.
Right. That's stupid as shit.
You can insult me all you want, but I know I'm right.
Do you notice how there are actual far right people in this country, right? Including, but not limited to, the president, right? The far-right, ultra-nationalist, authoritarian who is in charge of the country at this moment. That doesn't bother you at all? Because he's not, doing whatever Fox News told you socialism is today?
Forrest, if Donald Trump was a dictator you thought he was, don't you think he would have been killed by now?
No, that's stupid as shit.
Now is proof that you're still alive, is proof that he's not the dictator you claim he is.
Nope, because that's not how all dictators work. That's not how all dictators work. That's not how all fascists work. That's just the one that you are familiar with. Because you probably watched a documentary on the History Channel one day, and now you think you're a fucking expert.
I am an expert. I've been studying history for years.
That doesn't make you an expert. What are your credentials as an expert?
Hey, I watched all 3 Godfather movies. I am an expert on the mob.
Exactly, yeah. So John doesn't know what being an expert means either.
Listen, John, this is going back to what I said earlier, where you are not applying what you're applying really weird logic to these claims. You've brought up 2 non sequiturs. You said that Christianity essentially is true because it's brought a lot of good in the world, which that doesn't follow. And now you said that, what was it, that you don't think this individual, Trump, is a dictator or a fascist because he's still alive? Like, how does that follow?
Because I'm still alive.
You're still alive.
Me for criticizing him.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, but still, that's still a non sequitur. Like,
right.
John, the things that you're claiming to be evidence of your claims does not lead to those claims. Do you have anything better?
If he really was the dictator, don't you think he would have been shut down?
Nope.
That's what dictators do. They shut
No,
you
it's
down.
not.
The base station you're on, they would shoot you down. You don't want to live under Putin.
First of all,
I'm saying this right now.
First of all, that's not always true. And second of all, we already do have attempted suppression of public opinion and suppression of the media by the Trump administration. So, like, sorry, man.
Yeah.
That's just, you don't know what fascism is. You don't know who fascists are. You support a fascist. And also you're supporting a god, which is just as evil as the other bullshit you're saying. And you believe that it's justifiable for Christians to kill kids because they get to go to heaven. Like, your fucking ideology is disgusting, dude. I'm not really too interested in the rest of this conversation with you.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, you're making a mistake by turning your back on God. I'm telling you this for your own good.
If your God was real and you could prove it to me right now, I would still not worship him. I would tell everybody that he's real. I wouldn't be an atheist anymore, but I would still be against him because the God of the Bible is a fucking monster. And you have demonstrated why, through your admissions here today, that it's okay that the Christians killed children because those children go to heaven. That's what Christianity teaches. That's what the God of the Bible teaches.
I would never, ever, ever support your position that you have to brainwash children into thinking that they're something that they're not, or that they're different.
That's absolutely what religion does.
Yeah, you don't know what my position is. You just demonstrated that. And you don't know what brainwashing is because you're the victim of it.
I'm not the victim of it. I know the truth.
You don't know the truth, John. You don't know what the fuck fascism is.
I do exactly what it is. It's Stalin, Hitler. It's Stalin, Hitler.
And Kamala Harris, apparently.
Yes, exactly. Thank God Almighty that she didn't win your life.
So you gave several examples, one of whom is definitively not a fascist. And at the end of the day, you're still here supporting the evil God of the Bible.
He's not evil. He's the bringer of light. Very fact we're celebrating Easter is proof of that. And he died on a cross for his sins.
He's the bringer of light and also darkness. He's the bringer of light and darkness. He creates good and evil, right?
Well, he gave us the potential for evil, but he
creates evil. He creates
evil. What do you mean? What the hell do you mean by creating evil?
The Bible explicitly says he creates evil.
I mean Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Not to mention the fact that that's not just what he said, that's what he does throughout the Bible. Like when he commits genocide, and then he commands his followers to commit genocide in his name. Like when he causes rape, and then also commits rape. Like when he is pro-slavery and gives commandments telling people how to keep slaves. God commits and commands and condones and creates evil all throughout the Bible and says so himself in Isaiah 45.
Who do you think ended slavery? Christians. They were the ones who led.
I like how you completely, hold on. John, you completely ignored Forrest's point. He literally quoted a scripture of the Bible at you, and you just ignored it. And you're going to your next talking point. This isn't honesty.
It's also great that you're saying that Christians ended slavery. They're the ones who did it. So they don't get a fucking gold star for stopping doing something evil. They shouldn't have done it in the first place, but the Bible says they could, so they did.
Yeah, man, everyone was doing slavery, not just white people.
Oh, well, everybody was doing it. Fuck it, man. Everybody was doing it. It's fine.
John, if I committed a murder, that's bad, right?
Yes, I totally agree.
Okay, so now, but if my defense was, well, hey, Forrest also committed a murder, does that make my murder less does that make my murder less bad?
And he stopped murdering people eventually.
Okay, good job, John. So Christianity inflamed and made slavery worse, and just because everyone, quote unquote, is doing slavery, which isn't even true, but even if it was, that doesn't make it less bad. That's not a defense.
I never said slavery was good. I said Christians ended it.
Okay,
the Bible,
Christianity engaged in massive amounts of slavery in the world and still is. So that's bad, right? Christianity is doing a bad thing, right?
Today.
Slavery is terrible.
Yes or no?
Slavery is happening right now as we speak.
Okay, and Christianity is engaging in it and has engaged in it, and that's bad too, right?
How is Christianity engaging in slavery today? Tell me.
Christianity has historically engaged in slavery for centuries and still is today. There are Christian groups today, things like Mormonism, where they are keeping people hostage and making them work on compounds. Like, it's happening today.
Not to mention the fact that we still have slavery in this country as a punishment for crime, but like that's a whole other thing.
But that's bad, right? Christianity is engaging in a bad thing, right? Has engaged in a bad thing, right?
Right? You'll get no argument from me. You'll get no argument from me.
So that's an agreement then. Okay, yeah. Hold on. You're not answering the question that I'm asking.
What
Christianity has engaged in slavery historically, and that's bad, right?
I agree with that.
Okay, so Christianity has done and is doing a bad thing.
Has done, but I want to say is doing.
What does it matter whether they have or currently are? They have engaged in it. So
they don't get
you can't sit here and say, "Oh, Christianity brings good to the world," when Christianity obviously has brought bad to the world.
But who do you think came up with the laws? The laws that you abide by?
People, human beings.
Yes, people.
No, it wasn't all. First of all, it wasn't all Christians.
A lot of deists.
Yeah, first of all, it wasn't all Christians that did that. There were a lot of deists and a lot of people of other faiths and a lot of people of no faith that have created the laws that guide our society today. And also, the laws that guide our society today are incompatible with the laws of the Bible. So, no, John. And we just covered a great example of it in the Bible over and over and over. God commands and condones slavery. God gives explicit rules on where to buy slaves, how to beat slaves, how to trick Jewish slaves into being permanent slaves forever, how everybody else who isn't Hebrew can just be permanent slaves forever from the get-go, how to trick somebody into have their kids be slaves, but they're not slaves. It says slaves should obey their masters and partake of their peace in heaven. It has all sorts of rules for slavery. Never once says slavery is bad. God himself, several times, tells people how to own slaves. So, you're saying, well, I mean, at the end of the day, Christians ended it. They did it. They weren't the ones who started it, but they did it a fucking lot. And the transatlantic slave trade wouldn't have occurred without them. And the laws in this country that we have today go against the laws of the Bible, especially that one.
It was Christians who also ended the transatlantic slave, led by Abraham Lincoln,
so,
who was a Christian.
John, when did you stop beating your wife?
I don't have a wife.
Oh, man. When did you stop beating the shit out of your neighbors?
I never beat the shit out of my neighbors. I don't do that kind of
Hey,
stuff.
Great. See how that works? Now I can say that's a good thing. See, you're a good person because you never did a bad thing. If you were beating up your neighbors and then you stopped one day, would I then be able to say, well, look at what a good thing he did. He stopped hurting people.
Like I said, everyone was doing slavery all over the world. It was Christians and you Americans.
And if God was real and good, then God would have said, quit owning slaves. Free the slaves. Slavery is wrong and bad. That's what God would have said.
That's what Jesus said. He said that.
Where specifically in the Bible did Jesus say slavery is wrong?
He's against everything that's wrong.
Chapter and verse, where is it?
He's against everything that is wrong.
Where does he say that?
He said everything.
Where?
Everything is wrong.
Where did he say that, John?
I'm sure it's somewhere. But I'm sure he said
You got to speak up. You got to speak up louder, John, because we can't hear you. Where does Jesus say slavery is wrong?
I'm sure he said it.
Where?
I'm sure he said it. Because he went to
I don't even understand what you're saying. Sure he said. What's your response?
Okay. In Luke 4:18, Jesus says, "He was set to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and set the oppressed free." Luke 4:18. Jesus says
Luke 4:18.
Yeah. Jesus says he was sent to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and set the oppressed free.
So, prisoners and slaves are two different things, right? Like, this is not mentioning slavery.
When he does mention slaves, he does it like with the word slave. He doesn't say the oppressed or anything like that. Like in Luke 12:47-48, he says, the slave who knows his master's will and does not get ready or does not do what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much will be demanded and blah, 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 blah. Jesus never in the Bible, John, says that slavery is bad. He uses slaves and metaphors and allegories and shit, just like everybody does. Paul says slaves should obey their masters, especially even the cruel ones, because they get to partake of their piece of heaven and all sorts of other shit like this. If God was real and good, he could have done what he did with shellfish, or wearing garments of misfabrics, or touching the skin of a dead pig, or taking his name in vain, or working on the Sabbath, or any other thing, and just said, don't do it. But he didn't. Same thing with rape. God never says, don't do it. In fact, he gives very careful rules on what happens after you do, and he even commits it and causes it, sends people in to rape David's wives because he disobeyed him. So, like, and you do the same thing with genocide as well. God never says genocide is wrong. He commands it, and he does it himself. He not only drowns the whole world in the flood, he also tells his followers, go kill everyone in that entire community, including their women and their children and their babies and their infants. And in one instance, he says, keep the virgin girls for yourself, do whatever the fuck you want. So he's cool with sex slaves too. Again, the God of the Bible is evil. And even if we take the Bible out of the equation, any God who runs a world like this one is evil. And you, John, are an accurate representation of the fucking insanity of your religion.
For two atheists, you seem to know the Bible quite a lot.
Yeah, because
one of the reasons why I'm an atheist.
Because it influences our lives. Because Christians and Christian nationalists force their ideas.
That's why.
Not in a good way, John. Not in a good way at all, John.
Again, John.
Because your Bible is being used to justify the oppression of women, LGBT people, and minorities at this very fucking moment in this country. So no, it does not benefit our lives in a good way.
Yeah, and American slaves American slaves were subjugated based on the Bible. The slave masters were Christians and used the Bible to justify their slavery. Those slaves won't say, oh, the Bible's against slavery or the Bible brings good things to the world. They wouldn't say that.
Nope.
If you know your history, it was also the Bible that listed black people to get out of slavery. Start your own community. So
John, let's paint a picture here, John. Let's say I'm walking down the street and I see a house fire. Okay, it's a good sized house, and only the corner's on fire. I walk up and I dump. Hold on,
the corner.
John, the corner of the house is on fire, not the entire house, but only it's the start of a fire. I walk up to the house and I dump a ton of gasoline on that fire. I make that fire roaring, and now it's consuming half of the house. But then I put out the fire. Do I get credit for putting out the fire? No, I made the fire worse. I should not get any credit for putting out the fire. That's what Christianity and the Bible did when it came to slavery. Slavery existed. The Bible condones and legislates slavery. The transatlantic slave trade happened, and then the Bible was used to make that even worse. And then you come here and say, oh, well, Christians in the Bible is what ended it, which isn't really true, but let's just pretend it is for a second. That doesn't mean they get credit. They made the fire worse. You can't sit here and say, oh, they did all these bad things, but then eventually they kind of fixed the problem after centuries of making it worse. The Bible and Christianity does not get credit for that.
You guys are forgetting that you people fought a civil war to end slavery, a war that you won that ended slavery and started the civil rights movement that led to black freedom. Your country started that. You should be proud of that.
I'm sorry, how does that at all affect what I said about Christianity and the Bible making slavery worse before making it better, supposedly? How does that all affect
it? That's also not an accurate depiction of American history whatsoever.
It's not, yeah.
Wait a minute, that the war happened. We're not telling you denying that the war happened.
The war happened, yeah, but the way you just framed it was bullshit. The South, the southern states seceded from our country. They were traitors and they left our country, and then they attacked our country to try to gain power and it says right in their articles of secession. You can read, for example, in Texas's article of secession, where they wrote a document like the Declaration of Independence saying we are leaving the United States for these reasons. It says specifically in that article that we are leaving because the subjugation of black people and superiority of white people is ordained by God, and any Christian nation would follow suit with what we're doing because all Christian nations should recognize the institution of slavery. They were very adamant about this as Christians. Then they attacked the North, they attacked our country, and then they lost the war that they started in less time than it took Obama to run 2 terms, because they're fucking losers. We didn't fight a war to try to go beat the slavers. The slavers attacked us, and our president at the time, Abraham Lincoln, said if he could end that war without ever freeing a single slave, he would have done it. So no, America was racist then. It's racist now. It's a little bit better, but it's not fucking fixed yet. And we did not fight a war against slavery to stop it. We were attacked, and we defended ourselves, and we stomped a bunch of traitors into the mud where they belong, and they are never going to fucking rise again. So no, you have a twisted view of American history and a twisted view of Christian history, and just a twisted view on morality in general.
If the United States is so racist, how come so many people want to come to your country? So many black people want to come to your country. Why is that?
Because we have massive economic power and a generally higher standard of living than a lot of other places, mainly because we use our capitalist power to destroy resources and communities, to extract resources and destroy communities over most of the global south.
Well, doesn't that tell you something to how powerful your country is? That's a good thing. Why would you want
No, because we're right back to where we were a minute ago, John. Might doesn't make right. We are using our massive power to hurt lots of people and enrich ourselves. And the people here in this country have a higher standard of living and are very comfortable, so they don't think about it. But at the end of the day, what we are doing and the way that we are doing it is still evil.
You do realize the only reason why Russia and Putin is not attacking the country because of your military might. If you disarmed, you'll be easy picking, and he would take over.
Can you tell me exactly where in this entire call, John, I have said that we need to disarm ourselves?
You just finished saying that being a capitalist, powerful country is a bad problem. You just finished saying that. That's what it means.
John,
so capitalism is a problem, but that's not what I just said.
Having the ability to defend yourself is very different than using that military power and exerting that upon parts of the world, like we're seeing right now with the American-Iran war. Like, very, very different, having the ability to defend yourself versus actively causing conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
You don't let a murderous regime build a nuclear weapon to use against you. That's like giving your enemy a weapon, saying, "Go ahead, shoot me with it."
What?
So we decide to be the world police.
Yeah, you did, because someone has to do it, because you've been ordained.
You understand? We had a treaty with Iran that prohibited them from making nuclear weapons, and Trump completely dismantled it in 2017 in his first term. Like, that problem was handled. Trump tore apart that treaty, and now he's supposedly fighting a war because they're getting nuclear weapons because he took apart that treaty.
And also, just a month or two ago, he bombed Iran's nuclear facilities and declared that they were completely obliterated and Iran will never have a nuclear weapon because he has stopped them from doing it. And now, months later, suddenly they're on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon again. So he got us out of the treaty that would have prevented it, and then he claimed he prevented it, and now we're in a war anyway. Sounds like he's a fucking liar and a shitty leader.
You really think a treaty would prevent Iran from building a nuclear weapon? Do you really think that would happen? You need force.
Oh man! Do you know who does? Do you know who does have a bunch of unregulated nuclear weapons right now?
Who?
Israel. The people who we are currently fighting this war in Iran for. Weird, right?
They're our allies.
Uh-huh. And they're also committing genocide that we're funding. So what are we doing, John? Because at the end of the day, we're at the same thing over and over and over and over with you. This person is big and strong. That means they can do whatever they want. And this benefits me personally, which means that it's actually good no matter who gets hurt by it. Sorry, dude. My worldview and my morality is bigger than that.
Gentlemen, you kids haven't noticed the human race is not altruistic. It's based on force and power.
No, it isn't. That's a capitalist mindset, and that is a capitalist mindset, and history goes against it.
By the way, yes, it does. The very fact your country is powerful is proof of that. The world's not made up of angels. If you believe that, then you really are naive. No one has ever succeeded.
So first of all,
being nice.
You specifically telling anyone they're naive is very funny, and second of all, no, John,
I'm funny?
You are completely fucking indoctrinated and brainwashed by capitalist propaganda that tells you that everybody's selfish and evil and not angels and all these things. And that, yes, John, I'll say it again so you can hear it. You're brainwashed. And the fact that you are... The fact that you're not able to see the bullshit that you're spewing right now is fucking sad, bro. Because at the end of the day, history goes against what you're saying. Anthropology goes against what you're saying. Reality goes against what you're saying.
Okay, Forrest, the next time someone comes up to you and points a gun at you, be nice to them. See what happens. The next time someone mugs you with a knife, say, let's talk about this, and be nice. See how far that gets.
Yet another non sequitur, John.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're just bad at thinking in general.
I'm very good at thinking, gentlemen. The very fact I'm having this conversation is proof of that. As anyone who knows me, they'll tell me that.
Yes, John. We're very impressed by that big brain of yours. We're up to 30 minutes now, John. We're going to go ahead and let you go, John.
I also just want to throw out there, just like, well, the next time you get mugged, see how that goes. Okay, go tell that again to any of the people that we talked about earlier that were victimized by Christians. Just ask any of them, is Christianity good for the world? But of course we can't do that because everybody did slavery. It was just the thing to do back then. And eventually they stopped being so evil. And those kids that they murdered, they're in heaven now. Fuck all the way off, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? God damn.
That was some ultimate proof of God.
Yes,
we started. That was such a journey going from that.
John, the incredible thinker, such a proof of God.
Oh my God.
I actually was going to get back to that. You dropped him, which I'm okay with.
I just muted him. He dropped himself, actually. So.
Oh, great. But that was where I wanted to end the call, was just to say, hey, man, you called in to say you were the proof of God. You are more proof that your God is fucking evil. Thank you very much for doing our job for us, John. Because if God is real and he sent your dumb ass, thank you very much for reminding us why we don't believe in that motherfucker.
Okay, well let's get a palate cleanser going here. Hey folks, the lines are open. We have lots of spaces. Theus, please call in. If you are listening to John and saying, "Wow, this guy's a doofus," this is not how you present God to unbelievers. You have to do it with like showing the fruits of the Spirit, reason, logic, perhaps like some reasoning from the Bible. If you're one of those Christians out there who just looked at John and said, "Wow, what a horrible display," please call in and show him how it's done. We give what we get. So if we have a respectful conversation, we'll give it right back to you. We actually are very nice people.
Call in to say it's okay to kill kids because at the end of the day they go to heaven.
Yeah, or
probably won't be very nice.
Or ducking questions or anything like that. Basically saying might makes right. Yeah, we don't respond well to that. But anyway, Theus, please call in. Please call in. But anyway, we have one more person on the line. This will hopefully be a palate cleanser. Portia is in New York. Portia is an atheist. Her pronouns are she, her. And Portia, you said here you want
she. My name is Portia.
Portia, I'm so sorry. Portia, you want to talk about leaving faith behind, 12-step programs and Christianity?
Well, after listening to John, I don't know. I want to think about homicide.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah.
No, I tell you, I want to say I'm so glad I found my tribe. I started listening to you and Seth and there's so many of you since I left the Christianity totally. But to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm an Army veteran, and what else? I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I've been in recovery for 38 years. And I became I was a clinical therapist for substance abusers and mental health after I got sober. So the reason why I called, because I was listening to Matt, and I was on TV, and I tried to call in. Well, I called in, and I was told that it was really my boy Forrest, which is cool because I love you all. You know, I love you all, and you all say things that I really want to say. I don't go to a 12-step program anymore because I sponsored women for a long time, and I had stopped going to that program for 10 years. And I went back about 2 years ago, and I started sponsoring women again. But all of a sudden, Trump got back in. Okay, so that's what really made me believe in nothing forever. That was it. It was looking at the evangelicals that were supporting him. And I never liked preachers and mega churches and all the con men. I always knew it was something wrong, even as a kid. But I was born in 1950. And growing up, they thought I was they didn't know what was wrong with me because I would always ask questions. And you were not supposed to ask questions about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yes.
So
yeah.
We're listening.
I wanted to know, I asked, how can a snake talk? Oh, shut up. You know, the devil got, all the bullshit they say. So I've never been one of those Christians that were totally in 100%. But I kind of held on to it because eventually I would call out for this God. And he never showed up. And everything that I have experienced in these 75 years, I've heard on one of your shows, your podcast. And it was like, I can't believe it. Okay, it's somebody else, that I can connect with, because I don't deal with a lot of people. I'm a loner. I've always been a loner. I've always tried to avoid being in a cult. But I joined the military, so, and I joined the 12-step program, but I'm not a joiner per se. And I don't usually stay in places too long because of the way I think about being in a group. I analyze things. I always think out of the box, which has always made me feel ostracized. But anyway, to bring it up to recently, I decided not to go to the 12-step program anymore because I could not honestly read from that book again. And I was listening to Matt on the YouTube an hour ago, and it was a guy that had called in, and he was saying, even though the program says you don't have to believe in a God, you don't have to believe anything, just come and, we'll be your support group. But it started bothering me because the he in there in the Bible, in the big book, is patriarchy again. And I've never been the type of woman to succumb to patriarchy. I've always had a problem in relationships with men because I was raised by a man, because my mother abandoned me. And my father, I was raised by a man. And I didn't really respect men and that role that men's supposed to have and a woman is supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? So it caused conflict in my relationships with men because I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. I'm not going to be subservient. So my problem was I'm not entirely
familiar with 12-step programs, but yeah, I do, because my older brother, is an alcoholic, and he's gone through this 12-step program several times. I think my mother did at one point, but despite that, I'm not very familiar with it. I do know that generally there is lots of mentions of God and like surrendering yourself to a higher power, coming to terms with the fact that like you yourself are powerless and you must like submit to whether it be God or the universe or just something greater than you in order for it to get fixed. Yeah, I've heard of those things when it comes to those types of programs.
Yeah, so they tell you don't have to believe in it, but over time, it's snuck in there. They'll sneak it in there because it becomes what people say. And, a person will say something and then another person repeat it. So I said, I always said I believe in a higher power. And what that was to me was whatever I wanted it to be, because they say it can be whatever you want, anything larger than yourself to depend on. But I've always been an independent person, not out of necessity. I mean, out of necessity, not because I wanted to be. It's just how my life was. I could only depend on me. So, but I surrendered to this higher power. And like I said, I've been sober for 38 years. But one day, I was so depressed. I had been clean about 28 years, and I was going through depression, and I was finally diagnosed with PTSD from something that happened in the military. And I went into my closet, and I cried out to God, and I said, please show up. Please show me you're real. Please show me. And of course, he never showed up. And I had to go get me some medication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I've always looked at this so-called religion. And I always knew it was a con. I knew it somewhere. I always knew it. But of course, I didn't say it out loud until I did. So because I don't hang with a lot of people, I didn't have a lot of people to tell that, hey, I'm not down with it anymore. But the few people I have told, of course, they looking at me sideways. But because I didn't give a damn, I've never really cared about what people thought of me, really. I've always had that attitude. And when I hear you guys, you know, going back and forth with people that call in, it's like, oh my God. I'm over here angry. I'm like, yes, get him. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah.
I remember when I first deconverted. I deconverted 15 years ago, and I remember too. Well, you went over a lot there, and thank you for giving us kind of like a rundown of your history. I think it's great that you have found a way to recover and to self-control and to, you know, take what you've gone through and help others with it. That's all very commendable and admirable, and I really admire that. But what you said kind of touched on a few things that I went through when I deconverted, because I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, which is a very insulated cult-like group. It's a very us versus them mentality. Like, for instance, I wasn't allowed to go to quote unquote worldly kids' homes when I was in school. Like, whenever I went to school and I came home, I couldn't go to anybody's house unless they were a Jehovah's Witness. I couldn't participate in certain things like events like holidays and birthdays at school, extracurricular activities. So my entire youth, I was basically insulated from everything else around me except the religion. And that posed a problem when I started waking up, because much like you, I started looking around and I started seeing hypocrisy. I started seeing things like not line up. And because I wasn't given the tools, like things like critical thinking, logic, deeper stuff like philosophy and argumentation, I wasn't given any of those things as a kid. So I didn't have those tools to work with. I had to like get out, mainly because it was just like an intuition, like something's not right. I need to investigate. I have to, you know, like I didn't have what you would normally use if you were like, you know, an educated, well-rounded person. So a lot of what I did to get out was intuitive and emotional. And leaving, I realized that, oh wow, I feel lonely, because that was my social circle. Like the witnesses, that was it, because that's how they raised me. I was, like I said, it was an insulated group. So now I didn't have anybody to socialize with, to hang out with, talk about my problems with. And that's one of the reasons why I think I latched on so much to, back then, you know, the atheist experience, watching Matt and Tracy and Jeff and Russell and like the old school atheist experience crew. And like, that's how I started kind of getting into this community and starting to follow this kind of stuff, because it was a sense of community watching these people on the screen that had like, you know, the similar experiences that I did and similar outlooks that I did. But yeah, this is what you say is very familiar and very it's your unique story, and a lot of people go through that kind of stuff, and myself included. But what so your call here, do you have like a specific like question or like something you're seeking to get our opinions on, or is it just you want to just simply tell us about your background?
Well, I just really wanted to thank you guys, and I wanted to say I didn't have I hear a lot of people saying how difficult it was because it was their community, their family, they lost so many people. I didn't have that problem because I've never been that connected to people, but I've always been a generous person. I've always been a helpful person. I've been a compassionate person. But I wanted to really say, growing up, praying to this white God, this white Jesus, this white Mary, this virgin, which is impossible to me to have a baby as a virgin. And I hated white people, right? Because I'm saying, why do they have everything? Why do we have to be slaves? Why don't they treat us right? And that was one of the things that is probably why I never got deep into it. And I really don't understand. Well, I do understand. When I see black people still in these cults, whatever it is, I know Jehovah's Witnesses. I used to practice Buddhism. So I've been around. I've studied some things, and it was like, people wake up. You know what I mean? How can you be praising and waiting to die to get your crown when we're suffering here in America and they are believing in this white God, right? Because I tell people, if God was black, would white people worship him, right? They don't want to hear that. They
That's a good
always got
question.
an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't believe that people in America would be, or anywhere, would be worshiping this black God. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, probably not. Definitely. But anyway, yeah, and I agree. Yeah, like the whole promise of Christianity is everything. It's the ultimate grift, because it's you give us everything now and you'll get your reward after you die, which is just,
yeah. Well, I got to wait till I die.
It's such an amazing grift
at the White House praying over Trump.
Yeah.
And she just asked her church members to give 10% of their money to some bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, people, wake the fuck up. And they have turned woke into something that's bad.
Yeah.
Black people have been saying woke forever. Now it's bad to be awake. Well, if the opposite of that is asleep, wake up. But some people don't want to wake up from their dream. They want to live in a fantasy world because they can't function in reality. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. I watch you all faithfully. I'll be 76 in June if I make it. But one thing I don't have to worry about if I'm going to heaven or hell, because I never thought I was going to make it to heaven anyway. I was already in hell, right? So I was like, no, I don't want to go to heaven and praise God all day and walk on golden roads. I want a loan with a low interest rate. I want to move in the neighborhood. I want the job that I'm qualified for. That's what I want, right? So fuck being dead. So that's all I wanted to say.
Amen, Portia. Thanks you so much for calling, and we really appreciate you sharing that with us. And keep on watching, and I hope you I hope you do make to 71 and a lot further. So thank you so much.
Now,
this is a fun call, Portia. Thanks for being here.
All right. Goodbye.
Look, every time y'all saying Trump is on his way out, I'm like, damn, I might be right behind him. But anyway, all right, guys. Thanks, and keep up the good work.
See you later.
Thank you, Portia. Take care.
Okay.
That was sweet.
Yeah, that was. She reminded me of. I've already lost it. But yeah, like. It is. And by the way, before I kind of give my commentary on that, we have folks call in. There's no callers in the queue. What's going on here?
We
Sunday.
ran out of Christians,
callers.
by the way.
I guess we scare them all off. Maybe John was so distasteful.
We won.
Maybe John was so distasteful. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, please, folks, call in. The number's down below, 720-619-2288, or use the web link in the description. Hit that like button. Drop a comment if you can. I don't know if you can drop a comment until the stream is done, but definitely hit that like button, because it kind of massages that algorithm and does its thing, and hopefully more people will see the stream and go ahead and call in. But yeah, I think I mentioned it during the call, but most religions, there are lots of religions out there. They're very much into education. Like there are Bible colleges and Bible universities. Mormons have it. A lot of evangelical colleges of all flavors, and they really do encourage education. And I think for the most part that's pretty good. If you can just simply strip out the Bible stuff that's in there. But even then, folks like Justin from Deconstruction Zone went to Bible college, deconverted him, and now he uses all that extensive knowledge to help others get out, which I think is a great thing. But there are other religious institutions or religious groups on the other end of the extreme where education is bad. College is Satan's way to get you away from God. They're going to pollute your mind. They're going to turn you into a radical leftist. You're not going to believe. You're going to be an atheist and all these horrible things. And that's the mentality that I had growing up, because that's what everyone around me was telling me, because that's all I had around me. So yeah, for my entire life, it was like, don't go to university, don't learn logic or philosophy or critical thinking or even like anything beyond a blue collar trade, because those are all things that Satan can use to get his hooks into you and pull you out of, quote unquote, the truth. And it's very difficult to recover from that, especially like, I woke up when I was in my mid to late 20s. It's hard to wake up and go, wow, I missed a lot of opportunities to get an education and to start a career. I missed a lot of the education that's needed in order to navigate this world in an accurate way and in a way that's beneficial to me. I'm glad that I had the reflections and the self-awareness at that point that I was like, I need to fix this problem. So I went to university, I got my career going. 15 years later, I think I, for the most part, have recovered. But I feel like I'm actually pretty lucky in that respect. There's lots of other people. Imagine waking up when you're 30, 40, 50. Some people wake up when they're 60. My dad, who lives next door, my elderly dad that I take care of because I love him to death, he woke up when he was like 78. And it's like, how do you look at that and go, wow, I miss so much because I was in this cult for so long. Coming to terms with that, like it's like, I was lucky. What my dad went through and the way he came out of it, man, that guy is strong for having gone through all of that and then waking up when he's so advanced in age and simply saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to make the most of the life I have left. And so what he did, he got some hobbies. He went out there, he found a really nice companion, and he hangs out with her every weekend, and it's great. It's like she and I, it's like we're trading like joint custody of a child. I drive him over there for a few days, I drive him back. It's great.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's like it's okay. Like people in the audience, if you're in that situation where you're like, wow, I'm having doubts, like something doesn't feel right. It's more like intuitive and emotional because you can't quite articulate or form thoughts around like structured thoughts around what you're dealing with. If you're feeling those things and you're advanced in age, it's okay. You have a lot of life ahead of you. You can still change course correct. And you'd be surprised what a year from now will hold in store from you, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. There's lots and lots of opportunities in life. So don't let those things get you down. I thought I was super depressed when I woke up at 27 going, man, I lost so much, but move forward and you'd be surprised. You start looking back and go, oh, it's been 15 years now. I've had a pretty good life so far, and I have a lot more ahead of me. So yeah, hopefully folks in the audience, anybody's continuing with that, it's okay. It'll get better. Call in, talk to us. If you have like struggles like that and you're wondering like, how do I get around this? Like, we're here to help. There's lots of people. There's communities out there, outreach. There's Recovering From Religion, which you can go to. The website, recoveringfromreligion.org, I believe. And they have ways to people you can talk to and help. So, but anyway, thanks again, Portia.
Yeah, seriously. And a couple of quick things, because I think that's great. And I was going to say what Portia's called similar things. It's so great to see people, especially of her age, coming out and being openly against this shit. But what I also want to build on, number one, we already have 5 calls pouring in, so your shout out for calls, hell yeah.
Finally, thank you,
feel
folks.
free to keep calling in.
I was really like sweating
also,
there. I was like, oh man, no callers.
Right, what if the show just ends? Also, you mentioned, these different, universities. Sometimes you go to a Bible college, but they still try to teach science. What you can also do if you're curious about this stuff, you're wanting to check it out, you can just check on their pages. So like this is Pensacola Christian College here. Let me get that fit to the frame properly. Blah, 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 blah. You can see the chat there. Oh my God. So this is Pensacola Christian College here. And they're in Pensacola, Florida, and you can go right here to their About page, Biblical Foundations. They have their articles of faith and all these things, and it brings up, let's see here, I think it's right in here. Let me search for it. There it is, yeah. We reject the man-made theory of evolution. So, like, they say right here on their page, hey, y'all, we don't do science here. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a good education and you're interested, look at their, like, when you're looking at universities or colleges or whatever to go to, you can dig in a little bit. Another thing you can check their accreditation. See who they're accredited through. These guys are accredited through the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools. Now, this is a nationally recognized accreditation body. Fun thing about it, it was founded in part by the Institute for Creation Research. The founder of the Institute for Creation Research, Dr. Henry Morris, was one of the founders of TRACS. He was one of the founding board members of TRACS, and even called TRACS a product of the Institute for Creation Research Graduate School, which was a thing they ran, by the way. They had their own actual graduate school that gave out actual graduate degrees in, like, Christian education. And guess who they were accredited by? It was the accreditation body that they started. And so, like, you can just check. Like, there's a lot of ways to dig into these places. If some place says they're a university, says they're a learning institution, says that they can teach you whatever like that, like, dig into it a little bit and be sure. Because, yes, there are plenty of places that are Christian universities or religious universities, whatever, that actually still do a good job. And that's out there for sure.
Yeah, just because it's religiously based doesn't mean it's a bad university or college to go to. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good
raise
point.
an eyebrow. Do raise an eyebrow. You know?
Nothing screams insecurity in your position more than mandating that conclusion be reached by any research what happens in your institution. Like, as Forrest pointed out there, if you're considering a college or considering an institution to attend, and you see within their mandates that these conclusions are automatically excluded from any discussion, and that, or worse yet, these conclusions must be adopted, because there's lots of conservative Bible scholarly research centers and institutions that they mandate that all your conclusions must come to this set of conclusions, that the Bible is the word of God, that the Bible is inerrant, yada, yada, yada. Like, if you see that, run.
Yeah.
Same goes on the flip side. If I can't imagine a university doing this, but it's not impossible. Let's say university had it in their mandate that evolution must be adopted. Alternative theories are automatically disqualified. And in fact, if you bring those things up, your job is at risk, or your tenure at the university is at risk, or your membership. Like, equally so, run. If you have to have a mandate within your rules that certain conclusions are required, then you aren't really seeking truth. You are very insecure in your position. I laugh at it whenever I see a college do that, because it's like, screams insecurity. We are so correct.
I think that's how it works.
We are so correct. We must make rules about how correct we are. It's like, right? Get out of here.
There's a lot of creationists out there that think that's how it works.
I know
that we're out here banning everybody who doesn't agree with us, and it's, my God, it sucks. There's a lot more there, but whatever.
We got callers in the queue. Thank you. The Tooth Bunny has provided us on this most holy of toothy days. So thank you, Tooth Bunny. Let's go ahead and bring in our next caller. We have two atheists and one theist, and we're going to go ahead and bring the theist in first. Let's bring in Stan. Hello, Stan from Canada. Stan, it says here that you're a theist. Your pronouns are he, him. And your statement here is God is good, and atheists debunk this. So, Stan, hello.
Yes, hello.
Hey,
another bad
microphone. Turn off
the
stream behind you, because we can hear an echo, and also please back away from your microphone, because it's clipping real bad.
Yes.
Is it still bad?
Better.
Might be better. We'll go forward. We'll see as we go. But yeah, thank you. It does sound better. Thank you. So Stan, let's go ahead and break down your statement here. God is good. We don't believe that this God exists, so we don't think automatically that the God can be good. Why do you think this God exists?
I think God exists via arguments from natural philosophy, or natural theology, as well as some arguments for the resurrection of Jesus. I think the latter ones you're familiar with. I guess we can go over them if you want. And my main purpose of the call is that atheism can't provide an objective good. So in a sense, saying God is bad from an atheist perspective sort of debunks yourself.
So a couple of things really quickly. Which God are we talking about?
A Christian God. I'm a Christian.
Okay, so you believe in the Christian God, and just to be clear, like, just to get your cards on the table here, it is my stance that the Christian God, I don't think I don't think it's real. I don't believe it is real. But if it is real, I do think it is evil. So, like, the God of the Bible, especially, and the way that Christians depict God, even without the Bible, is an evil God. Now, you're saying that I, as an atheist, have, like, no framework of good and evil to judge it with? Is that what you're getting to? Or, like, where are we going?
Sure. Well, I'm saying that you have no framework for objective good or evil.
Why does it have to be objective?
Well, because if you're calling something good or bad as an argument, especially an argument against Christianity, you're basing it off some type of truth value. But if you're saying there's no truth value to morality, then it's kind of an incoherent argument.
So just to be clear, you also believe in a subjective morality. Neither one of us have an objective moral standard. And so, like, it sounds like you're just grumpy about it. Okay, who determines what objective morality is? What is that objective morality grounded in?
Sure, it's grounded in God's nature.
Right, and God is a subject. So you have now a split. Either God says something and therefore it is good, which means morality is subjective, which is what the vast majority of Christians give me. Or, if you want to stay to the no, actually, it really super is objective, then that would mean that it is independent of God, and therefore God is not required for this goodness. And we're right back here with me saying, no, actually, this God isn't good, and I don't need your God to say so.
Well, number one, Euthyphro's dilemma doesn't apply to the Christian God, because in the Christian God's idea, he's not one subject among many subjects. You know, he's the source of all existence.
Your God has a mind. Stan, your God has a mind, right? Stan, does your God have a mind?
Yep.
Okay. So he is the subject when it comes to these moral evaluations. It's a subjective system.
Oh, no, because
you got to back away from your mic a little bit. You're a little close again.
Among many
Yep. Sorry, Stan. Back off your mic a little bit because you're crackling. Go ahead.
All right. So the idea of God in Christianity is, again, it's not one choice among many choices or one subject among many subjects. It's the standard for everything. So,
that's your claim.
Okay. Like
that's your claim. That's your claim. Go ahead, Forrest.
No. I was just gonna say, I'm really sorry, Stan. I would love to get into what you're saying, and I want to hear what you're saying. Your audio is really crackly and crunchy right now. Yeah. Do you have us on headphones or something, or is it just straight into the phone?
It is pretty bad.
No, it's not headphones. And to be honest, if it sucks, I can just back up and maybe try again some other things. It's all right.
It might be best.
No, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to talk to you. Can you call right back in? Like, maybe it's just a bad connection. Can you please just call back in right now? Would that be okay?
I'll see if I can, but okay.
Okay, we're gonna wait like 10 seconds. We're just gonna wait here for a second and see if Stan gets back in, because I want to talk about what Stan talked about here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, goddamn, if you think that we're lying to you, Stan, listen to the audio. Like, fuck, man, it's bad. So just, I want to hear what you're saying, and I want to talk about it, and I'm gonna sit here and bullshit for a second, waiting for somebody to pop into the call-in queue, because I really, really do want to talk about what he was talking about. Because I don't think that Stan can justify morality being both objective and also dependent on God. Now, what he said there was that it's God's nature, which leads me to believe that then that God is contingent upon the morality, which is what I was saying. There's the second option. If you really push that actually no, really morality is objective, then God is not the arbiter of that morality. He is a slave to it. And morality is external to God. Yeah. And we can still say there's morality here without appealing to this God to do so. And it also means that God has no free will. If it's his nature to always follow this, then he must do it. Or you do what most Christians do, and you say, no, actually, God is goodness. Everything he says and does is good, even if it is, by my standards, evil. It's good because he says so. And that's divine command theory, and that is subjective morality. So, like, I would argue that almost certainly Stan has a subjective moral system as well, even though if he doesn't call it that. But it's possible that he would argue for something else that would, I think, undermine his God. And I want to talk to him about that. It sounded like he had something interesting to say. I'm waiting a little bit longer, but I don't know if he's going to call back in.
I don't see him in the queue, but hopefully he calls back in.
I think it was his connection, like not the microphone, but the actual connection. So I wonder if he's having trouble with the web caller.
Maybe.
That's what I'm wondering too, because he was on the web caller. By the way, if you're outside of the US, you can call in using the web caller. Normally, we don't have an issue. We didn't have an issue with John. He was on the web caller as well. So, like, I would love to talk to you, Stan. I hope you can make it through. Maybe it's your VPN's fucked up or something.
We may have to bring another caller, though, while we wait for Stan. So,
yes,
Stan, we'll get another 5 seconds, and if we don't see you, we're going to go ahead and bring in who's been waiting longer. They're both at 16 minutes. Yeah. Joseph and Fiona, you're making this decision very hard for me. I'm going to probably go with Joseph, because this is very relevant to Forrest's area of expertise. Sorry, Stan. Go ahead and move on. If we see you, we'll bring you back in. But let's go ahead and bring in Joseph. Joseph, atheist caller. Joseph's pronouns are he, they. And you have a question about evolution and speciation. How you doing, Joseph?
Yes, I do. Hi. Hello again, Forrest, and nice to meet you, Eric.
Hello.
I don't think I've spoken to you before. So I had a couple questions I've been trying to get in to ask you for ages, but it's notoriously pretty difficult to get in as an atheist. So the question that I have for you is it's specifically about speciation, and I'm hoping that you can explain this to me. Pretend like I grew up in the Midwest in a country with a really flat education system, and talk to me like I'm a child. When species break off, I guess my understanding of speciation is it's when there's enough of a difference between species that they can no longer produce viable offspring. Is that correct? Or
that's one take on it. That's one take. So that's called the biological species concept. The fact of the matter is that there is no real such thing as a species. A species is just a label that we put on things that are sufficiently different. The most common way to differentiate species is called the biological species concept. Two individuals that cannot reproduce to produce fertile offspring. However, that isn't always useful, possible, or true. And so, like, there are plenty of species that hybridize to produce fertile offspring. Happens all the time. There are plenty of situations, like with fossils, where we can't tell if they could have reproduced to produce fertile offspring. There are plenty of things that are asexual, like bacteria, that concept simply doesn't work because you can't say these two things reproduce together because they're asexual. And so we have plenty of different species concepts. There's various fossil species concepts, ecological species concepts. My favorite is the Heinesian species concept, but which is, if these two things diverge and their common ancestor dies, then we call those different species. But generally speaking, when you're talking about species, what you have described here is typically what we're talking about. Typically.
Okay. So I guess the thing that comes to my mind, I guess, picking a random real world example, we've got lions and tigers able to produce tigons and ligers, and from my understanding, those offspring, some of them are sometimes able to reproduce, but not always. The question that I have is, what I guess would happen if, by some fluke, that reproduction ability just kind of like goes away? Like there's a random mutation in the genes, and suddenly every one of them is able to reproduce, and we can have ligers and tigons all the live long day. Does that change the definition at all, or change the way we think about it at all, or just none of those things? Like we just kind of look at it as that's interesting, and move on.
So you're saying a situation in which a ligon or a tiger, a liger or a tigon, is now able to reproduce and produce fertile offspring through whatever mechanism. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, we would just call that a new species, more likely. Or we would call them still hybrids, because like so there's two different angles on it. It really does depend on how well like familiar the thing is and like how well we know about it. We could call it a different species. You would need then to establish that with there's an organization called the ICZN, the International Coalition of Zoological Nomenclature, that allows you to name and define this as a new species. That's a fucking real thing that exists. And there's another one for plants, is the ICBN, Botanical Nomenclature, and one for bacteria, and one for all sorts of other things. There's
I guess my question is more to do with like what would happen to the parent species. Like, would we then say that lions and tigers are close enough species-wise that like we would change the definition for them, or would we still keep lions and tigers as separate species?
Almost certainly they would still be separate species, because again, hybridization between species happens all the time, and we still call the two individual species that are producing the hybrids different species. And those hybrids, when I say, can also still reproduce. So a great example of that would be like ring species. When we were talking about ring species, the definition of that is that you have a long, like a big geographical area, and you have a gradient from one species to another, to another, to another, to another down the line. And the idea is that the ones on the very ends cannot hybridize, but if you pick any two that are geographically next to each other along the way, they can. And so we would still call those independent species, even though their offspring can still reproduce by themselves, and you have that blending going on in there. We may or may not identify their individual offspring variants as different species, may call them subspecies, may do whatever. But no, it wouldn't affect the species status of those above them, typically. And again, this is still something that would be established in the literature. Like if you were talking about this and this were to happen, and someone were to like then have to publish a paper about it, explaining their rationale, and that would be debated out by zoologists. And so like likely wouldn't affect anything as far as my knowledge is concerned, but you could make the argument for it. But because these are very old and established groups, probably wouldn't happen. Oh, and also I think they're in different genera as well, which you can, that would be a big ask to blend genera.
All right.
Let me double check.
I'm no expert.
I guess
I'm no expert
on that question.
Yeah, I'm no expert in any of this, but whenever I'm trying to like wrap my head around speciation and evolution and the evolutionary tree, I think about it in the same way that you think about languages. There's while you guys were speaking, I'll go ahead and share it if I can. Let's see here.
Also, I was wrong. They are not in different genera. They are both in Panthera. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of African and Asian elephants are in different fucking genera. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm an idiot.
I think I'm sharing my whole screen. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make this big. Hopefully you guys can see it.
No, put me on there again.
Yeah. Get Forrest out of there. Forrest. Anyway, but if you look at like the family tree of evolutionary species on the planet, and then you also look at the language tree, which the important part here is what's showing. We can see how the European languages broke off into Germanic, Italian, and Slavic. And I think one of the reasons why it is a difficult question to answer. Where did the speciation occur? How do we know it? How do we classify it? What is a speciation event? What isn't? It's kind of the same way that the same problems we have when it comes to language, because you can have a group of people who speak language. We split that group, and then generations start passing, and these two separated groups start developing the language in different ways. There is a time when these people can come back together, and they can, for the most part, understand each other. And may even have offspring that will have a blending of the two languages. But at some point, they're going to diverge so much that we don't see that anymore. And like you can ask the same question to a person who studies language. When do we call something a new language, and when isn't it a new language? What happens if two languages start splitting, but then they reconverge, and we have a small group who they have this like blending of these two languages? Like, don't know. Like that's a really hard question to answer, because this isn't like mathematics.
So fuzzy.
Yeah, it's so fuzzy, and there's so many like edge cases and ways that this can like develop in that it really is just comes down to just what the environment is and what's happening around it and whether these groups get split or terminated or they reconverge later on. Like it's very, very difficult, and it's there's just some questions that'll be like, okay, we're gonna have a fuzzy answer to this question because it's a fuzzy situation. It's not like hard math.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
weird,
that's why
y'all.
it's such a difficult thing to wrap my head around.
It is.
I love biology. I love genetics in particular, but I'm a huge paleontology nerd. So I guess like I think about this stuff a lot. And then like I said, I grew up in a flat education system, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this and like kind of keep up with what the science says, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's tough. And especially because it is a thing where we don't have actually a set classification system. We just, kind of have to make a case in the literature. So like, yeah, dude, it's, I hope this has been somewhat helpful in like kind of shining a light on it, but also just remember, like these biologists are just people. So at the end of the day, it's going to be weird. And we have a million and one situations where they have found out that one species was actually several species, or they found out that several species were actually one species, or they're currently arguing that like this species doesn't exist and it's actually just an offshoot of that species, and like this shit happens all the time. So if you're looking for clean answers, biology is not the place to do it.
That really does compound the problem. Like, first of all, like the delineations between species, delineations between languages is really fuzzy because it's always a gradient. It's slow change over time. And then on top of that, our data set is so limited. And like a lot of the evidence that we would normally enjoy has been like scrubbed by erosion and the earth and like time just like erased. So we have to like take what we can, and we have to make logical inferences based off of these things. And some of those logical inferences are going to be wrong, and that's okay. Everything that science says about reality and the world, it's all tentative. It can all be over tomorrow with just a single discovery, a new piece of evidence, something that shows that, oh, hey, actually we were wrong. We can adjust our conclusions. And I think that's such a great thing about science is that it's a virtue in that it can adjust and course correct as needed. It is an honest process. So yeah, it's frustrating, but it's unfortunately what we got, and that's reality. So we have to like do our best with it.
Yeah. Sorry,
anyway, Joseph.
I know I shouldn't be reading the chat, but I saw someone in the chat said that I sound like Red Green, and I'm trying not to take that as a compliment.
I love Red Green.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you don't know? Oh, the Red Green Show? Classic.
I'll look it up.
That was a great show. I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what was it? What was the quote? A woman might not find you handsome, but she should find you handy, because he's like a everyday repairman. Yeah, good stuff.
Gotcha.
Joseph, thank you so much for calling in. Hopefully, hopefully Forrest answered your question. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, goodbye.
Take care. We have one caller left in the host queue, and we had someone trying to get in on the call-in queue a couple of times. And so this might be our last call of the show. We'll see. Yep. But it sounds like an interesting one regardless. So yeah, let's take it.
We're only 99 minutes in. So the night's young, folks. If Theus in the audience is like, hey, I want to call in. I want to defend my God better than John did. Please do so. All right, let's go ahead and bring in Fiona. Hello, Fiona. Fiona's from Florida.
Hello,
Fiona's pronouns. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
So Fiona says here your pronouns are she, her. You're an atheist, and you're asking the question, why are Americans so anti-Semitic?
Let me correct that. Oh, by the way, I want to say that I really enjoyed this past conversation. I wanted to keep hearing about speciation for another couple of hours. I do know linguistics, and I can tell you how evolution comes about in language evolution. We can blame it all on teenagers trying to be cool. They coined the new term.
LOL for reals.
They reject.
No, it's
so anyway,
and that's a great. It really is a great parallel, and I use it all the time. Like if I tell you that something is cool right now, you understand what I mean by that. But the phrase "cool" to mean like good, interesting, nonchalant, all these different ways that we use it today, that came about in the 1920s. So like you go back to the
Yes.
1910s, say something's cool, it's like it's very warm. What are you talking about? It's a silly thing to say, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you can look at the different things like when I was a kid, no one's saying woot anymore. No one's saying,
True.
any of the bullshit that we said when we were in early internet culture. But LOL stuck around. So like we still have that one, and today, we're talking about skibbity and Riz and shit. And so like, yeah, it's a great parallel to evolution because you have random perturbations of the language. And some of them stick around, and some of them die out, and some whole languages die out, and like that's just exactly a perfect parallel.
Let me interject this. Some terms stick around only ironically. Like if you want to use the word groovy, you'd use that in an ironic sense.
Yeah.
Unless you're me, because I still use it totally seriously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Hey, what's going on?
And one more thing I wanted to add there. Yes, teenagers do drive the evolution of language a lot more now, especially in the technology age, when a teenager can have in some countries, can have a TikTok account or a Facebook account or Instagram, where they are speaking publicly to many, many, many people. So the new slang and the new terminology and the verbiage that teenagers come up with tends to spread more than it did, say, back in the 90s or back in the 80s, when really, for the most part, our social media was basically like the news and it was mostly adults. So I imagine that in the past few decades that teenagers are driving evolutionary language way more than they were in the past.
That is true. And of course, to kill something like 6-7, all you need is for the parents of those teens to stop, or to start using it, rather.
Right.
6-7 will die. Just give it a year. It'll go away.
Well, and I want to hate 6-7 so bad, but when I was a kid, it was 1738, and it was the same fucking thing. And so, like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. We're all gonna die. It's fine.
Well, as any linguist should tell you, what matters is whether you're communicating. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Creole. There's nothing wrong with Swahili.
Yeah.
If you're communicating.
They're really cool.
Absolutely. As long as terms and definitions are agreed upon. Like we could sit here and have a conversation, Fiona, you and I, where we swap the definitions for dogs and cats. Whenever we say dog, we're actually referring to what we normally refer to as a cat, and vice versa. If you and I agree to that, and we're clear on that, we can have a conversation like that. No problem. Yeah.
I would love that. I'll tell the audience something that they might not know. The word dog is of unknown etymology. No one knows what culture came up with it. It's lost in the mists of antiquity. I could tell you some more too, but I do kind of want to talk about what I called in about.
Okay.
Yeah, please, please.
I don't understand the MAGA anti-Semitism. We went to war for Israel, and MAGA is behind that. So I don't understand the Semitism part of it. Are they anti-Judaism? Are they anti-Israeli? Are they anti the cultural expectations and values? Is it just the physical looks of what they think all Jews look like? Are they even saying all Jews when they're, and that Jews will not replace us? I mean, I assume they're thinking of somebody like Woody Allen and not Kirk Douglas or Michael Douglas for you who are younger. There's so many Jews that have changed their names to make it in Hollywood, right? So I want to know, please tell me, please, what is anti-Semitism about?
Fuck, bro. I wish I had a clean answer for you, but like the thing about what I mentioned at the beginning of the show, MAGA doesn't have any actual values or goals, and you see that in this case as well, because you have people who are staunch evangelicals, huge support, a huge part of the MAGA base are staunch evangelicals that are pro-Israel no matter what, but not because they like Jews. It's because they like Christianity, and Christianity says that Israel is this homeland that will be created and restored, and then they'll be attacked, and that brings about the end times. And so we see a lot of people in the MAGA movement who are super pro-Israel because that's God's chosen people, and it's God's land and the holy land, the blah, 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 blah. And also, they want war in the Middle East, and they want people to attack Israel because that means that Jesus is coming back soon. And on the other side of MAGA, you've got the Marjorie Taylor Greens, who are outwardly anti-Semitic and are happy to criticize Israel for their genocide in Gaza and their invasion of Lebanon and their terroristic attacks in other parts of the world. Happy to call that out. But it's not because they're good people calling out evil. It's because they fucking hate Jews. And you see back in the day when Marjorie Taylor Greene was perpetuating anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about Jewish people running the world and secret cabals and controlling the world assets, and they controlled the space station that sent lasers down to Earth to start wildfires and whatever else. And that's real shit that she believes in. And so, like, you have kind of this mix match, but in no way are they, like, pro-Jew. They will use Judaism as a shield to say, oh, we're protecting Jews and we're protecting Israelis and all these things like that. At the end of the day, none of them think that Jewish people are going to go to heaven because they're not evangelical Christians like them. And none of them are really supporting the protection of Jewish people. They're just using them as a political and religious, talking point. That's my experience with MAGA anyway. There's probably some fucking weirdo out there that has more detailed opinion about it. But I can tell you that the state of Israel, the government of Israel, has done an incredibly good job of conflating Judaism, the Jewish religion and the Jewish ethnicity, with the existence of Israel and the government of Israel and the actions of Israel, to the point where even here in America, if you criticize Israel for their horrible deeds, then it is assumed that you are criticizing all Jews around the world across the board, and that is akin to it. And that anti-Semitism is synonymous with Zionism, pardon me. And so you get that a lot, especially in right-wing circles, with especially MAGA pushing this idea that anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are the same thing, and you see that a lot with MAGA across the board.
Right. I had forgot about the whole Zionism part of it, and but they wouldn't hate Einstein, right? Or many of the rocket scientists who came escaping the Nazis to America.
Well, we also brought Nazi scientists over here, Werner von Braun and shit. We have the whole thing of Project Paperclip. So, like, we really don't care. We want free shit. We want to be the biggest. We want to be the best. We want to be the richest. We want to be the strongest. We want to be the most powerful, and we don't give a fucking rip where that comes from. We will hate you afterwards, but we will take your shit while it's free.
There is quite the display of pragmatism when it comes to this type of stuff, where these alliances are formed because there's some greater goal. But once that greater goal is met, then the alliance tends to fall apart. And we've seen it numerous times. We see it in this very administration with the way Trump will fire people, and then all of a sudden they're like scum on earth, and they're just the worst ever. And it's like it's really just comes down to just this pragmatic, like, okay, who can be used to achieve our goals and then discarded.
I accept those as answering my question. Thank you. It is multifaceted. And I did wonder whether the values that the Jews I've known here in Miami, who love their kids and do promote them going to law school and medical school, but don't insist upon it. I wondered to what extent that kind of cultural expectation or value was considered evil by Oklahomans, or whether it was the looks. But I think you've told me it's multifaceted, and I am now a happy Fiona.
I can say, like, in this, it's obligatory to get this out there. Like, I have worked with Jews. I have known many Jews in my life. When I was a kid, I hung out at the Hebrew Temple in my town quite a bit. They gave us a ton of free food. We're very, I grew up pretty poor, and they were cool and helped me out a lot. And you know, I've attended celebrations and festivals of them, as I have with other cultural and religious organizations and places around. Like I said, I used to go to the Hindu temple all the fucking time. Went to celebrations there, had great food and met great people. There's a Turkish society in Tulsa that I didn't know about until they had a thing, and I was there for that. And like, there's a million situations like that. We have Scottish groups, and there's a mosque that's fucking, you know, really chill here. Like, I grew up very multicultural, and even today, as an anti-theist, atheist, activist type person, I still love going out and meeting my friends and neighbors of all faiths and religions and backgrounds and cultures and creeds and what. Well, I shouldn't say creeds because fuck Nazis, but like, I'm down with all these things. And here, you know, just outside of Tulsa, my hometown, a place called Broken Arrow, they were trying to build a mosque out there, and the fucking white racist pieces of shit that live in Broken Arrow went out and protested it and got it shut down. And you better believe I was activist for the other side. I was like, let them build their damn mosque, dude. Let them have a place to be. I don't agree with their religion. I don't want them to be Muslim, but I want them to be safe, and I want them to feel at home and be welcome in my community. And that's the major difference here when we talk about MAGA is, as I said at the beginning of the show, MAGA doesn't have any values of their own. They don't have any morals of their own. What they have is hate and blind loyalty to Trump. And so when we talk about how they feel about Jews, they are not white Christians, so it doesn't matter. They're the same boat as everybody else. They're a political talking point. They're a scapegoat. They're a shield. They're a gotcha. They're whatever they need to be. They're a tool to be used, but they are not the chosen group, the white Christian nationalists that make up MAGA. So at the end of the day, they're going to burn just like everybody else, and they don't give a fuck. Whereas us on this side, I'll sit here and criticize the Jewish religion all day long. I'll sit here and criticize, you know, the whole Judeo-Christian, you know, the Abrahamic religions as a whole. No problem. They have some, but just like Muslims and just like Christians and just like everybody else in the world, they have some cool cultural things going on, and they're generally nice people. And I would love to have them as a neighbor, as long as we can have healthy debate. You know, I was just on a podcast a little while ago. I have a friend who is Jewish and has, you know, a big Jewish family, and he's talking about getting together with his family, and they're just going to debate everything, and that's a cultural thing for him.
Yes.
And so he's bringing up his daughter to go meet his aunts and uncles, her aunts and uncles, and all these people. And Zara's like, "Why is everyone fighting?" And he's like, "No, we're not fighting. We're Jews. We're debating. We're debating every fucking thing we can, and we're going to argue it and get it right, because that's just what's important to them in that culture." And when I was in
like
Muslim country, and
cousin Vinny.
Yes, and when I was in a Muslim country, I was in Indonesia for a little while, and when I have Muslim friends here in the States, I have a couple that one comes over and visit my house. Fucking most generous people I've ever met in my entire fucking life. My friend Abdullah comes over to my house to kick it, and we're all drunk in the other room, and I have to go find him because he's doing the dishes, because that's just what he's going to do. And that's what I see in that culture when I was there, you know, when I toured their places. Like, they're amazing. And I'm going to argue against their religion, and I'm going to tell them they're wrong, but I want them to feel safe, and I want them to feel at home, and I want them to have a place to be, and I want them in my community. I want them to feel loved here. That's the difference between us and MAGA. MAGA's fake as fuck and will pretend to care about these people in order to use them as a prop to win political points, and then they'll throw them to the same wolves they threw everybody else to. We will argue against them and tell them that they're wrong about things, but we will make sure they're safe and make sure they have the right to believe whatever silly shit they want to believe. That's the difference, if that makes any sense.
It sure does. And I hadn't quite taken in this point about they want the Jews to all go to Zion and die so that heaven will, whatever it was. But,
do you know who else was? Do you know who else were very outspoken Zionists? The Nazis. They wanted Israel to be a place so they could put the Jews there and just get rid of them and then bring about the apocalypse and whatever else came later. But like, yes, no, absolutely. That was a major thing.
Sly little weasels. Wow.
Oh, Nazis suck, dude. Oh, the worst.
Yeah, they really fucking did. Although I could also, well, I started to go off into I'm a descendant of Pocahontas, and I have stern views about, you know, child brides and the the English bringing over their diseases and all that. But I'm going to skip that for another time. Thank you. I do live in cosmopolitan Miami, Florida, where I just know the Jews as intellectuals, you know, who are my people. So, thank you, gentlemen, very much. I've enjoyed this. I've learned a lot.
Well, thank you, Fiona. Yeah, appreciate it.
Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
I was sitting there listening to you guys talk, and I was like, I know next to nothing about my lineage. I don't know where on my mother's side. I do not know where my grandmother or grandfather were born. I don't even know my grandfather's name on my mother's side. On my grandfather's side or on my dad's side, I do know my grandma and grandpa. I never met them, but basically, like I have almost no visibility on where I come from. I have no idea what I am other than what I see outwardly. And I'm fine with that. Like it sounds probably kind of weird to some, but I just don't care. Like I care about being a good person. I care about putting good out in the world that will hopefully one day be returned back upon me and others around me. Like that's kind of like my agenda. And I deal with other people in the same way. When I deal with a person, I'm not thinking about what are their people known for? What country do they come from? What nation might represent these people generally? Like I don't register any of that. When I try to deal with a person, I deal with a person on their level as an individual. I look at their character, what they say, how they treat others, whether they're honest, and perhaps they have characteristics that I don't like because, like, maybe I caught them lying to me, or maybe I caught them treating somebody without kindness. I could say to that person, okay, you as a person, I don't want anything to do with, but that doesn't automatically extend or start to like perpetuate amongst whatever group that I think they come from. And that's kind of like my approach to it, because I just don't value, it's going to sound really weird, I don't really value heritage. I don't value legacy. Yeah. I don't value that cultural baggage that comes from people who are now dead. Who cares? I care about what I'm doing now, what other people are doing now, and I try to do that. And I know there's probably, on a cultural, social level, there's probably lots of detriments to not having those things. And like I said, just because I don't value them necessarily means I don't want to get rid of them. But that's kind of where I'm at. I look at people as individuals, and I want to treat them as individuals. So I try to get away from all of that, like any type of ostracizing of a group based on where they come from or their skin color, because I just don't care. I want to deal with the person on their level.
Yeah. But there's a difference between there's a difference between saying like, hey, I value on a personal level and like doing the whole like I don't see color type thing. You know what I mean? That's just not like that. Like, no. Yeah. Obviously, when you look at person, like we as psychotic apes on a rock flying through space, part of surviving for the untold generations that came before us was being observant, noticing differences, because different things can back when we were, clubbing things and hunting with spears, things that were different could potentially be dangerous to us. It could potentially, an unknown can be like, whoa, hold on, this might kill me. Like that stuff's kind of hardwired into us. So obviously, yes, we look at people and we look at things and we immediately will notice things that are different about them than it is from us. But I think it is the mark of it's a mark of a good person, but also kind of like the mark of an enlightened person to look at that and go, those things don't matter. What matters is what this person is doing and how they're conducting themselves. And that's tends to be how I do it. It's fine to admit that, okay, yeah, we are wired to notice these things, but then it is even better to say, but I know better than, we're not nomads 50,000 years ago. We're in the modern day society. We have laws, we have society and structure, and we know that people are not the group that they come from. They're not the lineage that they come from. They are the individual that's in front of you, and what they're doing now is what's important. And so anyway, that's what I try to do. And that's how I try to stay away from all of that stuff, because it's silly. Hating a person for what their grandfather did, hating a person for what their great grandfather did. Absurdity. Get rid of it. Yeah. And like us, I feel the same way. And it's also, the idea of like being proud of things that you have no control. You're proud of the land you were born on. You're proud of the color you were born.
Yeah.
What is that? You know what I mean? And there's a difference. Like if you are proud of, like, to be in a culture. Okay, you're proud of your country. Okay, I can vibe with it. Making that like a whole identity bothers me.
Yeah.
And like, especially if you're from an oppressed group and you're proud to be a representative of that group and like want to be the, okay, sure, yeah. Doesn't really work for, I guess what I'm trying to get to here is the problematic part of it is when it becomes like this vague group, like white people. Like, what the fuck is white culture? What is white heritage? What does any of that mean? You're just making shit up, as opposed to a specific country that you like, or a specific country that you're from, or a specific culture that you want to talk about, while acknowledging bad parts. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's so much nuance there, and I love that old quote. I forgot who said it. That was about, like, you know, when someone has nothing to be proud of, they will be proud of their ethnicity. They will cling to that because they have nothing else of value. And that's how I feel about, like, white supremacism shit. It's like, just, you have nothing of interest. You have nothing of importance. So you have to cling to your skin color. And then do shit like what we talked about with John at the beginning of the first call, where, yeah, I know that we did a bunch of bad things, but we also stopped, and therefore we deserve some credit. Fuck off. It sucks so bad.
I think my analogy went over John's head a little bit, that, okay, even if it were true that Christians armed with the Bible stopped slavery, they perpetuated it. They made the fire worse. Like, why do they get accolades for ending slavery when they're the ones who dumped fuel on the fire? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
A lot of things went over John's head.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
I should caveat what I said earlier too. Like, I've had a very, aside from the religion, I've had a very cushy life, and I'm a white guy living in the United States. I have a position of privilege, and I have not dealt with the things that other people have dealt with. I'm not at all telling people they shouldn't have like national identity or ethnic identity or cultural identity, because obviously other people are going to have different perspectives and they will value different things. I'm just saying from my point of view, with my experiences, that's where I'm coming from. That's not necessarily saying that's what you should think.
For sure.
But anyway, just want to put that in there. But I think we're done. I heard the dun dun of Colin's studio being put back into its coffin.
Before we go, I want to let everybody know tomorrow is Skeptalk with me and Aaron Adair. So tune in for that. I was
about to announce
and
it.
Then we've got Chewed Gum after that with Alyssa and Taylor. Then we've got the Hang Up with Matt and Brady Goodwin. Then we've got TACIS with Riverboat Jack and Luxander. Then we've got Cus I Wanna on the 11th with Aaron Raw and Kip Davis. Then we go all the way back around to the Sunday show with Matt and Promise, and then the Sunday show after dark with Justin from Deconstruction Zone, and Owen Morgan will be on that one. And I'm not doing the Sunday show that night because I think I'm on the Calling It Now with Joe Vaughn instead, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So tune into all of those or none of those. It's your choice.
Also, Fiona, if you're still watching, here's my dog.
There you go. It's been a great show, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye, folks. Everyone have a good night. Bye-bye. Go pet your dogs. Go pet your cats.
Thanks so much to Alexander for producing tonight. Thanks so much to Stephanie for call screening tonight. Thanks so much to our mods in chat. Everything simple and safe. Thank you so much to the callers who called in, even the ones that suck. Thank you to the people in chat, even the ones that suck. Have an awesome rest of your day and stop learning. Bye.
Go to patreon.com/calltheline to support the channel. Thank you.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.